welcome to the next episode of the Sonic Talk Podcast. Episode number 9, The After Lunch Party. With me here today is my good chum, Jason Barry, a.k.a. Shigemoto, and my good friend from the Sega forums and Sega Bix, and Sega, a.k.a. Shadow Legend, a.k.a. Smelly Hippie. How are you two doing today?
We're doing great.
Doing awesome, man.
Woo! We are E3 tomorrow, yeah.
Keep it
We are
up.
coming to you live, reasonably close to the E3 building.
We're coming pre-recorded live.
Yes, currently I am about a mile away. Jason's about 30 miles away, or something like that. And Sega's on the other side of the country, smoking some pot and loving life, and just watching and waiting as we get the news for him. As all of you will be doing, pot aside, unless you actually do that stuff. Tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday. I hope you enjoy our coverage. It will be on both Sonic Stadium and Sega Bix. Different articles on both sites by different writers, so I encourage you to look at both.
It'll be good.
Sonic Stadium listeners, go to Sega Bix, please. Now then, first up, what we've been up to. Obviously, I've been flying across the country in an airplane to L.A. from my humble abode in Delray Beach, Florida. I've been playing a little bit of 3DS lately, mostly Sands of Destruction, and before that I was playing lots and lots of Halo. I've also been reading some comic books, and I also had to go without sleep because I couldn't sleep the day before I had to leave because I was leaving at 4 a.m. And well, anyway, and I also enjoyed some sweet, lovely Toonami. Very, very good to have the block back, and I hope all of you are watching. Jason, what have you been up to?
I've been watching my niece play DC Online on my PS3 and basically hogging it this weekend. And in between that, I've been playing Dragon's Dogma from Capcom, which is surprisingly very good, better than I was expecting. And I got Resistance 3 on the Vita, which is a little disappointing in spots, but it's still good in some spots. It's just average.
Not Resistance 3, Resistance Burning Skies.
Resistance Burning Skies on the Vita.
It seems Jim Sterling's 2 may not have been completely unjustified. But I don't know. I'm still waiting to try it on your Vita.
Is Dragon's Dogma like a Japanese Western RPG?
Yeah, kind of like that. It's kind of Skyrim-ish, only it's also action, Devil May Cry kind of oriented. Where
it's cool.
And you have a traveling companions called pawns that come from some other dimension. They give an excuse why because they're AI, they might act funny at times because they're from another dimension and they act differently from us, basically.
Oh.
But other than that, they help assist you in your battles, which you need really desperately. The only problem is they don't stop talking. They constantly talking all the time. In fact, when you gain a new quest, the damn wizard in the back always goes, "I have gained quest knowledge." I'm like, you have to say that out loud? Why?
So,
cool to see a new IP.
What have you been up to?
All right. Well, I've been pretty much. If I'm talking about video games, I've been doing some digital stuff. I just got Rayman 3 HD remake on Xbox Live, and I'm liking it. I loved Rayman Origins, and I beat Rayman 2 on 3DS. So I thought, why not try 3? Because I never played it, and it's weird because they actually talk in English, in full voice-acted English. It's the only Rayman game where they did that, and sometimes they talk a little too much, but there's some pretty funny jokes in it. Especially there's this one stoner doctor character who has really funny, he's pretty awesome. I cracked up at that, but it's the usual Rayman quirky French humor. The game's it's probably more frustrating than the other Rayman games. You could tell that it's the only one that the creator of the series was involved with, but there's still it's still fun and it looks nice in HD. Knuckles?
So anything else?
Besides that, just I've been playing some Halo, just like you.
Halo 4.
Yeah, I've been playing it on. I just got Xbox Live for the first time in a while, so I've been playing that with people online.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Oh wait, we can play now. I can kill you by shooting you in the face.
Yeah, dude, you actually can.
Wow,
you wouldn't though, because
awesome.
I'm probably better at Halo than you.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I'd say that's about it. That's what I've been up to lately. Oh, and watching the press conferences.
I forgot to say I've also been watching Death Note, an anime series about Light. Oh God damn it! Light Yagami. Yeah, there's his name. Who obtains a notebook that kills people when he writes their name in it, and he kind of goes mad with power and starts purging the world of criminals, and it starts this whole chess game between him and various opponents as they try to catch him as he obtains the identity of the murderous, vengeful man of so-called justice, Kira. And it's interesting. I very rarely watch anything where the antagonist is this power-hungry and unlikable, but it's fun. I'll say that much. Characters in this are really smart, really intelligent. It's nice to have an anime that isn't all action or boobies or something. Have either of you watched Death Note?
I know of it, and I know it's popular, but I haven't seen it myself.
One of my friends loves it, and I never really saw it either, but he raved about it.
Well, you should see it. I recommend it. Unless you hate dark things, it's your kind of thing, I think.
No, I've heard it was good. Yeah, I may have to check it out one of these days.
Though it's funny what they'll do in that anime series sometimes. I don't know if it's because the people who storyboarded the show are like people who storyboard action shows or something, but Light Yagami will do the strangest things in a dramatic way. Like at one point he says, "And I will eat this chip," and he takes a chip out of the bag and he bites it in half, and the salt flings and glitters into the air. It goes, and another one where he's epically writing names in a notebook, and only the Japanese can make eating a chip and writing names in a notebook look epic.
That is very true. That is true.
It's kind of borderline ridiculous, really, but it doesn't happen that often, at least from what I've seen. Anyway, okay, getting away from Death Note and on to the next part of our little show, Sonic News. Now, of course, the Sonic Adventure 2 Avatar items were announced to be debuting tomorrow or today, depending on when we can get this podcast up, June 5th. And, of course, we're all basically expecting Sonic Adventure 2 to be on the Xbox Live. Can't really say much more than that in regards to how much we expect it to be on there, but needless to say, we've prepared at least a little something on for Tuesday Tunes in anticipation for that, so we'll see. Now then, what do you guys think of this? What do you guys want?
I'm not surprised that that this is coming. They already kind of got leaked out from a list before, and it's just pretty much inevitable that Sega's trying to put most of their Dreamcast library right now on downloadable. So I'm happy to see it. I'm hoping it'll be both on Xbox, PlayStation, maybe some other downloadables like maybe the Vita or the Wii U.
I don't care about the Wii U so much for this, but Vita, please, Sega, if you know it looks good for you, do it.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, and Sega, speak. You love this game.
I think. Well, I mean, obviously, I love Sonic Adventure 2, and it's cool that it's finally going to get a digital release. Because Sonic Adventure 1's been released to death already. The only thing I kind of worry about is that it hasn't aged well in certain areas, and I really hope that. I mean, I hope Sega's touched it up a little bit, or at least put it in high def. but we'll see. That's just a hope for me.
I kind of doubt they've really touched it up all that much.
I do too. I doubt it, but I kind of hope they do, just because otherwise it's going to be trashed pretty mercilessly by the press, and that sort of worries
they'll
me a little
trash
bit.
it either way. In order for the press to not trash it, it will have to be a completely different game.
I guess, but
at the very least, though, I expect this to be for them to put more effort into this than into Sonic Adventure 2. Partially because they have different developers handling these games now, and they're more competent developers. They have a whole different developer handling Jet Set Radio as opposed to Sonic Adventure DX and Sega Bass Fishing and stuff. So we can probably expect something, maybe a second stick utilization or something, if the game is real, of course. Yeah. Personally, one thing I really love to see is online multiplayer, particularly for the Chow Gardens. I think that is something that Sega has woefully underused since they went third party, is online Chow Gardens, or at least online Chow races and fights.
I think they should just do that in the next Sonic game. Just go all out with the Chow. Just do all this crazy online stuff.
They've said repeatedly, oh, no, Chow is a Sonic Adventure thing only. I'm thinking, okay then, make Sonic Adventure 3.
Sonic Adventure 3.
Friends.
That would be cool.
Anything else before we move on to the next subject?
No, I think that's it. I did add to our subject matter here. Sega's booth at Sonic and Sega All-Stars at E3 tomorrow is expected to have a celebrity appearance, but we don't know who it is.
Yes. Now, anyone got any predictions before, of course, I go off on my tangents?
I have no clue who it could be. It could be just small, well, not small time, but someone who's been there before, like maybe Yuji Naka or Nagoshi. But we don't really know who it is. It could be just like a fictional character, like Mario or something's in the game now on Wii U or something like that. But I don't have a clue who it is.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's what it is. It's like a celebrity and then just some dude in a Mario suit. I guarantee. Like that's my prediction. I think. I know it would be corny, but hell, it would sell a lot of copies.
Maybe, at least on the Wii U. If Mario was going to be in it, it would definitely help it with the
really help it.
And now Alex says who he predicted the last 3 episodes.
That is whom I predict. Sanshiro. I mean, it's not, the guy has actually even worked with Sega very recently. He helped them. He dressed up as Rambo and helped them promote their new Rambo well, okay, not new anymore, but their Rambo arcade game. So he still does things for the company. And Segato Sanshiro would like be the ultimate Sega fangasm, perhaps only surpassed by a new Nike's game with. Okay, I'm trying to think of a good mashup of Sega awesomeness, because something to do with Nike's the Sega Saturn and Panzer Dragoon Orta, Skies of Arcadia, Phantasy Star Online, and
Shenmue. I say Shenmue.
And Shenmue, right? Of course, Shenmue 3. All that stuff just comes out in one massive game. That's what it would take to surpass Segata Sanshiro in Sega All Stars, particularly if he comes here himself, which I hope so. I pray to Sega God, please let this happen. Though it would make me lament not bringing my Sega Saturn so he could sign it. That would have been so awesome. Okay. Anyway, anything else anyone would like to add, or?
No, I think that's it.
We'll see tomorrow.
Sorry if perhaps
today, depending.
This podcast seems a tad more organized. We're actually re-recording this because someone didn't buy their Skype recorder, and our last copy of this podcast got deleted.
Yeah, I thought it was just recording it, and apparently it wasn't recording it at all because the trials ended on it and wants me to repurchase it
And he didn't realize.
Yeah, I didn't know. That was a long trial.
Because he didn't. Anyway,
And I'm very glad I was not part of that podcast.
I have a feeling that without She-Ex Echidna here, who's in the last edition of this, so for the record, the last edition of this was horrible, so really it's probably very good that you didn't get it, but Sonic Monopoly / Memory announced. Now, can anyone else talk passionately about this, or is it all going to fall to me?
It didn't do any harm.
Well, like I said, it's probably just a Sonic version of Monopoly with a few little changes here and there. And Memory, of course, will have the characters in that. I think with since Sonic's she tends to be a bigger hit with kids and adults, I think Memory will probably sell better.
Bah! Who buys Memory? Forget about Memory. And in the last podcast, I would have cursed incessantly about that, but that was one of the problems with the last podcast, so that's one of the good reasons why it didn't come back, why it didn't get recorded. But anyway, personally,
really?
I would like Sonic Monopoly to include various levels and locations, because GX Echidna said last time that the Mario Monopoly game just had you building things on characters, and that just seems wrong to me. How can you build a hotel on Amy? Let alone several hotels, or that big green house hotel. I forget what it's called. What is it called? Do they have a name for that? The big green house hotel.
Which one?
Park Place?
No. When you get 3 hotels, but then when you can add another one, instead of adding another hotel, you just add one big green one.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyway, you cannot build hotels on Amy. So people making Sonic Monopoly don't have people building hotels on Amy.
I'm sure Drew should run a love hotel.
Yeah. It is not nice.
Where you stay for a half hour at a time.
I don't care if Nintendo fans get to build houses on Princess Peach or Mario, because they are Princess Peach and Mario. Amy does not deserve that. So please,
you know what?
Have them build their hotels on Green Hill, on Emerald Hill, on Emerald Coast, on City Escape. Come on, do that for me, please, Monopoly people. So Nintendo Sega, you were saying something?
No, I was just going to say, if Amy actually got killed, you could build a hotel on her. She'd be under the ground. That's the only way I think that would work. Because Amy Rose is the most annoying Sonic character besides certain Sonic characters.
Oh, and Sega, that is not a nice thing to say.
I guess you haven't been on Sega.com and seen the Amy Rose love thread with a ton of fan art on there.
For the record,
involving that.
For the record, Archie haters, he does not even read the comic books. He just doesn't like Amy. He doesn't have a thing with Sally, or Mina, or Dulcie. Whatever.
I remember Sally from the cartoon. I know her from that.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he has a Sally thing. He just doesn't like Amy. Okay, now that we've gotten all that out of the way, the Sonic merchandise store is coming to North America. God, another thing that GX waxed on about constantly. I don't know what to say, because I don't really know what the Sonic merchandise store is. What do they do?
Sell Sonic merchandise.
Yeah, what merchandise? Do they sell hats? Do they sell clothes?
Well, some of the action figures, yes, they sell clothes and they sell hats. They do, and I think they're going to sell those. They want. There's one T-shirt I want from that English company, that the Eggman one with this symbol and everything. I really want that one, and they sell that one in the English store. So they have it there.
Do they sell any merchandise that they import from Japan or anything? Anything special?
Possibly. I think they're going to have in the English store, they have the Nico figures from Japan.
Okay, so they do. So they are a specialized.
At least I've heard.
So they are a specialized Sonic store that can at least obtain imported Sonic merchandise.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll have the Jazwares toys and such too. The Jazwares toys that melt.
Oh yes. Talk about that.
Yeah, basically, if you've seen the Sonic 20th anniversary statue by Jazwares, where classic Sonic and modern Sonic are running side by side, there's an issue once you take it out of the box and it goes just a little bit above room temperature. Those two Sonics will start, as they're top heavy, will start leaning to one side or the other. They're in a running position and they got their legs spread out, and I guess they don't have enough hard plastic in their legs. They're soft, so the legs and the whole body bend and shift down one way or the other. And I thought I was the only one having a problem with this. And on Sonic Stadium, no, there's a big issue with that. Several other readers have noted the same problem.
It's a shame. I guess that means you better not keep it in room temperature then.
What do you got to do? Keep it in a fridge?
I guess if you're a hardcore Sonic fan, you better keep those in a fridge.
Or better yet, just don't take it out of the box. That's the only thing I can recommend if you haven't bought it yet.
And Sega, do you even buy Sonic action collectibles?
I did when I was a little kid. I still have them actually, but I don't know anything about them. They're cool.
You don't call them.
When I was a little kid. But yeah, I don't really buy any of that stuff.
Okay, I remember this one piece of Sonic merchandise I bought. I think it was like a Hot Wheels thing or something. It was Sonic riding a bike. It was like my only plastic Sonic toy of my childhood. Because aside from that, I had a doll that was like a Sonic and Knuckles promotional doll, the little Sonic and Knuckles shirt that I eventually took off.
The one from Denny's?
What'd you say?
The Sonic and Knuckles dolls they had at Denny's for Sonic Underground?
No, but I actually got those when they came out. I'm referring to Sonic and Knuckles, a Sonic promotional character for Sonic and Knuckles the game. He was wearing a white shirt with the logo.
I just remembered I did fast food toys.
I still have those polybagged.
And there's also one where you launch Sonic, he was riding a bike, and he had rings out, and he looked angry. It's the only angry figure of Sonic I have. Anyway, if we're done talking about Sonic collectibles, Comic Talk, and Sega, you can go get some water or something now.
I'm done. Go ahead.
Now, the last podcast that we recorded that you'll never listen to, none of us had actually read the comic book. This time, at least I have. Jason, have you?
Well, yeah, I did. What did we talk about? Last time, me and GX read the issue, and you hadn't.
Oh.
And we were talking about it.
Oh, okay. I thought that you just read the spoilers like you normally do.
No, I read the whole thing.
Okay. Well, anyway. I personally found the story to be okay. I mean, most of Ian's worst stories are at least serviceable. I would kind of put this at around serviceable because, I mean, we got the Wolf Pack and we've got the Cax.
Felidays.
The Felidays. Okay.
Felidays.
The Felidays. And they're both pretty bland character tribes of characters by and large. I mean, the only thing I really remember about the Cax is that they always look angry and that the wolves look, Native American, which is kind of weird because they're in South America.
Except in leotards.
And except they're in leotards. Of course, Native Americans do not wear leotards.
Well, you know what? They really didn't start wearing feathers and stuff until they moved to that new island. I don't know what's up with that.
You mean the mysterious cat country, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, but they're both pretty bland characters. But really, I think Sonic and Amy have some of the best lines in the comic book. Now the next thing is something that actually, Jason, why don't you take it from here for a bit?
Do you want me to talk about what the Mina and
the plot? No, the plot. We're not done talking about.
Oh, okay. The plot is basically because Sonic and Amy and Tails are now Team Freedom because the Freedom Fighters are broken up into basically three teams. They're following and hunting Eggman down. Eggman's gone to the Sahara. It's called the Shazamazon, I guess, is what the cat country is now. And he kidnapped. He has Metal Sally kidnap the Queen of the Felidays, Hathor, and Loop from the Wolf Pack, who's the queen, not the queen, but the Grand Chief of them. And so, of course, the cats and the wolves are all suspicious of each other at that. So Sonic and
they're on the verge of starting a war with each other.
Yeah, another war with each other. I mean, Sonic and Big broke up one a few years ago, and now they're starting up one again. But the Queen of Hathor escapes, but she has to give up her robes in order to do that to get into this small crawl space, while Loop stays behind. The thing is, though, without her robes, she's the Philidae have an odd custom where everything in their stature is about their clothing, and without her robes, yeah, Sega basically says he's grabbing some food, so this is a good time. Yeah, basically without her robes, she's not queen. She's just she calls herself a humble emissary, and her attitude has actually changed a little bit. She's usually kind of vicious, and she's more nice.
Yeah, she's a bit of a not nice woman.
Yeah, she's a bit more nice without the robes on. I think it's like psychological with them.
Yeah, I
like
figured
without the clothes, they change their attitude with it when they're in a different position.
Yeah, with the clothing.
Yeah, their whole culture is all based on their clothing, which of course is kind of screwy. But
as queen, she has to act more aggressive, more vicious, probably because that's what a queen needs to do to command the respect of her warriors.
Yeah.
Now, were you going to say something?
So basically, I guess Sonic, Amy is going back with Hathor to the Wolf Pack to explain what's going on, and Sonic and I think Tails are going off to help rescue Lupe. In the meantime, Lupe is about to be legionized by Eggman, which basically means that he's going to off her arms and put on cybernetic ones. And from there we get into a talk with Mina and Nicole, because Mina had that whole concert against Nicole because, Nicole was taken over by...
Wait.
God, it gives a lot of backstory to that.
I want to talk about the main story first.
Okay, go ahead.
Slow down, man. Now, then, first, what we liked about the story. Of course, Eggman was good. Ian knows how to write Eggman. Eggman was just...
And, of course, I love Orbot and Cubot. And Cubot's got a little umbrella on him when Eggman's spitting and spraying and yelling at everybody.
Mecha Sally's competence was in capturing Loop and Hathor was very refreshing, because she went in and out of both places with surgical precision, took them both, and this went off without a hitch. None of that crony screwing up. So that was nice. The villains were good. Ian knows how to do good villains. I'm happy that we got someone he can at least do them. But
right.
And Sonic, Amy, and Tails, they were also good. I can't remember any lines, but I remember chuckling a few times. But let's see. One thing that I'm surprised we didn't really bring up in the last podcast was that Lita and... Oh, man, you're going to have to correct me with their names.
Lita and Lyco, who are the two twins of the Wolf Pack, they're going to be the new members of the secret Freedom Fighters. Yeah,
he's introducing them as kind of a...
and in this one, they just talk about how they crave action and want to go someplace else and make a difference. Just to help put the seeds in there for the upcoming Sonic Universe arc.
Yeah, Ian's trying to introduce them to give them some personality and character and history and motivation before he makes them the characters in this upcoming Sonic Universe arc. But the problem with the whole thing is that they are boring. I mean, their dialogue is some of the stalest, blandest stuff.
Yeah, you know what? I enjoyed the first time they were there with Sonic and Big. I thought that was a much more interesting story. And it's not that interesting this time around.
I mean, if you're going to include these characters, and that's the best dialogue you can come up with, when you're trying to convince the reader that you should care about these people, you should probably find different characters, because, I don't know, I mean, maybe they'll prove themselves in the next issue, maybe they'll prove themselves in Sonic Universe, but as it is, as what I would basically consider their introduction as characters instead of background pieces, it's boring. And now, thankfully, that's the next part of the work.
Basically, Lita and Lyco are like, yeah, I'm bored, let's go be on a Freedom Fighter team. Yeah, that's it.
That's basically one of the worst things I can say about this comic book, is that two of the characters are boring, which is probably a good thing, I suppose. But another thing that kind of irritates me is how quick the wolves and the cats are to go into war. I mean, their leaders get kidnapped, and their first thought isn't the Dark Legion, which is sitting right over there, and would benefit.
Which they've already united and fought against once when they tried to put them together.
The first thought is, it must have been the cats, or it must have been the wolves. Why? I can't picture the most irrational people thinking like that, especially that quickly with no evidence. It's just, how...
Hey, cats and dogs hate each other. What can I say?
Yes, but that doesn't really work as motivation to war. That involves people killing other people. Now, thankfully, Hathor, the emissary, was able to talk her warriors out of attacking the wolves, and they decided to say, okay, well, we can see you're here even though you're not really here. So, because you're not the queen, we're not going to make peace or anything with the wolves, but we're going to go back, and if they attack us, we're going to gut them like fish, and it will be the last battle they ever see. And it was to that effect. They didn't say gut like fish, yeah. But, you know, just, I understand Ian is under time constraints, but I don't really think he necessarily needs to show things moving this quickly. I think he can just have both sides coming under strain. You know, maybe have quick clips of both sides saying, I think it's the wolves. We should consider going to war, and I don't know, have them show some actual debate instead of men with beating their chests saying we're gonna go out and kill them. I don't know. It just doesn't really work.
Yeah, and something's going to have to change in the next issue, because this whole story feels like unimportant filler, like it's not really going anywhere.
Yeah. And finally we have, I think Jason and I will disagree at least a bit on this here, we have the whole culture of clothing, which went just a bit too far for me to find it believable. Because as Jason explained, for the cats, or the Felly Day, I don't know, the Felly Day.
Close enough.
Yeah, I'm still not going to let you say Lupe. The clothing determines your status, and so therefore, if you're not wearing the robes of the queen, you're not the queen. I mean, it's an interesting concept. I like that.
Yeah, they explained that with Sonic and Big last time they were there. And Big had to dress up just to be an interpreter, and of course he could barely talk, and so Sonic said, "Oh, my socks make me the stately bearer of the truth's interpreter," or whatever.
And you see, in that, it was cute, because it was just status.
Yeah.
But then you have in this thing, it's taking beyond the realm of believability, where we have the queen is obviously standing right in front of them without her robes. I mean, and so she completely changes her personality, which I can kind of see, because she's no longer queen. That means she doesn't necessarily project the same amount of ferocity that a queen would have to project in her culture. Again, I'm assuming here. I hope I'm not giving this story more credit than it's worth. But, okay. But then we have her cats completely disregarding her as the queen, just acting like she's not the queen. She's not anyone of any importance.
Well, technically, without the robe, she counts as not queen. The only thing that bugged me is she was going around talking as like the queen was a different person than her.
Yeah, that was just kind of creepy to me.
I mean, Sonic explained why, but it was still off-putting.
Okay, we're not disagreeing as much as I thought we would. This is boring, but yes, it was off-putting. It's an interesting concept that Ian just took a little too far. It came to the point where, I mean, no culture on Earth has anything like this, because it had to have something slightly mentally wrong with you in order for this to really be a thing in LP. Now, I don't know. I mean, I spent.
They're a little more primitive than other, cultures, but still, it's weird.
Primitive has nothing to do with it. Primitive has nothing to do with anything. I spent a semester studying anthropology was pretty bullshit, low-level class. I mean, bull smack, low-level class. I learned at the very least that, and oh great, now I'm completely off track, because I was going to basically say maybe it's just my Western mind not really being accepting of this very strange culture. It could be that. So that's why, of all the things, I'm kind of willing to give this at least some leeway, even though it just looks ridiculous to me. But in any case, okay. I hope I didn't use up all my ranting fuel because we're about to get to E3. Oh, actually, no.
Did you want to mention anything about the Mina Mongoose Nicole talk?
Oh my God!
Myself,
okay,
I don't care. They had a talk. She basically apologized and for something that wasn't really her fault. I mean, I could imagine her having nightmares when the entire city basically can envelope you at any time.
Yeah, but that had to be a okay. How do I say this in a G-rated way? Female dog about it. She had to be a female dog.
Not really. She didn't outright say she hated Nicole or anything. She just wrote a protest song that said that because she wanted them to wake up and at least question, you know, whether they're having a sentient life form that has entire control of your city was such a good idea.
She sang a song that inspired fear in the populace, and the that was protecting them against the Okay.
She didn't start the fear, though. The Naugus did that. Naugus had used a little bit of magic to instigate it.
She was the conduit. She was the conduit that inspired fear in however many thousands, hundreds of thousands of people live in that city. Against the one thing that was protecting them against everything, against robotic, against the elements.
The problem is, they were kind of ignorant about that. I mean, why would you want to live in that city to begin with? You're getting attacked constantly, and even the thing that protects you can kill you.
When it was under the control of this very, 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 very rare form of techno-magic that only one person in the entire world even has. I mean, okay. Again, I'm looking at this from the outside, so maybe I'm being too critical, but I don't know.
Again, didn't Naugus instigate her? I heard something about maybe Naugus instigated her nightmares as well, but that could be wrong.
Maybe, but regardless, this was a good story, I think. It
was one of those little heart-to-heart moments, you know, character development, blah blah.
Ian does heart-to-heart, which he doesn't do quite as much as she should. I mean, I understand, action comic, you can only do so much.
I'd rather it had less. I'm happy with it.
But when he does this, he does it good. I won't say, well, but good. He does it good at least, well, on very good occasions. We've actually had quite a few, we've actually had quite a few good ones lately. But anyway. But, it was nice because Nicole was being silent throughout most of that. And then when she, as Mina just apologized and just said things, and Nicole was just quiet. She just put text on a screen. You know, you don't need audio to know this is a quiet, very quiet scene, very heartfelt scene. And so it really helped set a nice atmosphere throughout the whole little story. And then when she materializes, she's in a fetal position. I mean, Ian is really making sure that even people who are just coming to the comic book know to feel bad for this girl, because every little thing kind of helps add to the fact that this basically been this. Nicole's basically this computer program with feelings who has been berated and betrayed by those she's spent her life protecting. So, it's well done. The dialogue is well done. The art is well done. Tracy Yardley, which I forgot to complain about Stephen Butler. Yes, he still puts... can I say the B word on G-rated? Yeah, okay. He still puts boobs on everything. That's a woman. But
Well, to be fair, the wolves and the Fide tend to have a larger, more human anatomy than Sonic and the other characters, who are shorter and squatter than the wolves are.
To be fair, at least Loop isn't a seal, so it's not like those things make her less fast in the water.
Yeah, seal boobs. That always ticked me off, because Celia was just a cartoon character that was a seal with long eyelashes, and that's the only thing that made her female, and then Stephen Butler had to go and put boobs on her, which is just awkward.
But, then we had, but then we had Tracy Yardley's story and the heart-to-heart thing, and that was refreshing. That looked nice. Tracy Yardley is such a good artist. He really is. I mean, I just love that guy. He doesn't put boobs on things. He knows how to express emotion. He probably has some of the best facial expressions of any artist in the comic book industry. I mean, his faces are incredibly expressive. Of course, it certainly helps that he's using cartoon characters and his cartoon style, and it's a bit easier to do expression on characters with large eyes and feet and features like that can be easily drawn. But, it's just, he's really good, and he really does a good job in this. And, of course, there's also the little comic strip by Jonathan Gray, which kind of poked fun at the fact that we have, I think, 3-4 plot lines now of characters wandering off from the main cast and never being heard from again. Doing
their own thing. They got Bunny Rabbit, and then Mighty and Ray, and then even what's his name, the Tasmanian.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the Tasmanian Devil guy. I completely forgot.
That's Ian Flynn's character he created for that.
I have a feeling that he was supposed to be in the next Knuckles story that never materialized, but we'll never know, I guess. Anyway, okay, so let me just. Okay, now then, do we want to talk about E3 now or after the interview?
No, we're just going to do it now, get it out of the way, and then our podcast is going to end with the interview with Kevin.
Okay,
we should have mentioned it actually at the beginning of the show. We got an interview with Ken and Kelly Parker from Sega, Ken Balough and Kelly Parker, and it's all about Sonic 4 after its launch, and we've got a lot of your types of questions you want answered, and that'll be up on just a little later.
Anyway, when I start talking, I'm probably going to keep talking for a while, so and Sega, I want you to start off just talk about E3. I don't care what it is. Doesn't need to be Sega, doesn't need to be Sonic, just talk. Hello?
And Sega.
Hey, stop smoking your pot. Get over here.
He was away for a while, now I can't. He said he was back, and he's on here, but I don't hear him.
Look, we're not going to stop recording. We're doing this all in one take, for George's sake.
Yeah. And for my sake. Okay,
no,
so he's gone, so I'll just talk about what I'm expecting, hoping.
Yeah, you go.
Anyway, wanting to see what happens at the. Hold on.
If you need any more proof,
it's
not an Archie fan. There it is.
Yeah. So by the time you hear this, everything will probably have gone down. But we've seen I've seen the Microsoft press conference this morning.
Hey, Sega, are you dead? You dead? He gets groaned. Oh, I think he might be sleeping.
Oh, he said, hold on. He said he's there. It's just his mic goes to sleep.
Okay, sorry, Jason. Keep going.
Anyway, so we'll get back to him. Basically, we've had the Microsoft press conference. It was basically more focus on the hardcore games instead of on Kinect. There was like 2 or 3 Kinect games shown, and mostly there was... oh, he's gone.
Uh-oh.
And Sega's gone. Anyway, and why are you coming up minus?
Keep going.
Okay, whatever. Anywho... That was a good conference. I mean, Halo 4 looks great. Call of Duty looks good. Tomb Raider looks very good, very action-y. I'm hoping to see more Tomb Raider-ish parts of Tomb Raider where she's exploring in caves and such. Splinter Cell also looked very unique and it looked like a lot of fun. I don't really care if they put out Internet Explorer on 360. Who cares? I mean, every friggin' console has a web browser now. It took them long enough.
Well, I think their justification was that they oh god damn, I can't remember the justification. It was like they didn't really want to have I can't remember it properly, so never mind. But there was a reason why they didn't have it. I'm sure someone can look it up and post it in comments, please.
What, the web browser?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, dude.
Hello.
My mic falls asleep and I have to unplug and replug and all
Right.
this weird shit.
The mic fell asleep. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, it seems to happen all the time. But anyways, continue.
Anyway, so yeah, they finally got Internet Explorer going. I guess they're gonna have a different way of using it than on the regular internet to make it more approachable for people who are watching it on TV, almost like TV browsing instead of web browsing.
I think the Kinect browser thing is going to be pretty cool. I may not really use the Kinect much right now, and I probably won't.
I don't even have the Kinect anymore. I don't care about Kinect. I just care about 360.
The Kinect should be cool. I should love it. But I don't know. Maybe it's because it makes me stand up. I don't know. But
and then there's Smart Glass, which could go either way. Either going to be some revolutionary thing because it's going to be an app on all your tablets and smartphones that you can interact with your 360 on, and you can have your streaming Zune off your 360 onto your smartphone wherever you go and what have you. But otherwise, it might be something that that's a little too much for people to want to bother with. It might go the other way. It's something that I think can lean back and forth either way.
I would like to rant on that real quick, and Sega, feel free to join and interrupt, because I know you've had this conversation, but...
No, I have yeah. Go.
I've seen this kind of thing come, I've seen this kind of thing go. We've seen other companies, Sony, Nintendo, try to incorporate completely separate devices into their main system, and guess what? It never, ever, ever works. Now,
it works. It's just not supported enough, and nobody really cares. Like,
it's not supported enough because developers are not willing to put much money into a feature that there's not a guarantee most people are going to be able to use. I mean,
right.
Game Boy Advance. I think it can safely be assumed that most GameCube owners had at least one Game Boy Advance, and yet how many developers made a Game Boy Advance GameCube link cable game for the GameCube? I think you can count them on one hand. Like, there's Pac-Man Versus, there's Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and then there's, of course, a Nintendo game. And they all came out in 2003.
I think Sonic Adventure on the GameCube also had a Chow thing that connected with the Game Boy Advance.
Yes, okay, so Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, which was basically just it's unfair compared to the VMU function.
Yeah, it's basically like that.
The VMU function was a lot cooler. So, but anyway, yeah, like 4 developers used it as a critical part of their gameplay. Okay, really 3, because you didn't need to use a Child Garden on the Game Boy Advance. But and then we had a few, I think at best a few dozen other games that utilized taking some periphery features. Like we had Billy Hatcher and Phantasy Star include mini games. But in the end, Nintendo's 2003 press conference emphasizing this feature was a flop. No one cared. The GameCube failed horribly, and the feature was useless. Because guess what? There's no guarantee that enough GameCube owners will own both. Hello?
Uh-oh.
What? What? I was in the middle of my rant. Why are you saying uh-oh? Hello?
Hello, I'm back. Well, that was weird.
Don't do that.
It was my computer. I didn't do anything.
Yes, you did play anything. Okay, anyway. Alright. Because there's no guarantee that enough GameCube owners will own enough Game Boy Advances, or vice versa, to make investing significant resources in this feature worth it. Because the whole point of making a game is to make money, of course. And you're only going to invest your money into things that will make you more money. What makes you more money? Making a game that everyone can play. Now, will this smart glass thing be better? Probably, but not much better. I mean, I saw people posting. I saw Microsoft had an example of doing Madden NFL play and having it play on screen via the touchpad. That's cool. That is cool. That's something that probably every Madden game on the Xbox is going to have from now on. But how many more games are going to use this in any kind of substantial, noticeable, gameplay-altering way? I guarantee you, not one. Not one. Not
It's also,
one.
yeah, and it's also missing
in a gameplay-altering way.
Yeah, and it's missing. You can't really use it as a controller because it's missing buttons, it's missing analog sticks, it's missing triggers. So you can't.
There's not even much you can really do with it because it's a touchscreen. And
You can't.
the best touchscreen games, they're built for touchscreen, or if they use buttons, they use 2 buttons and a directional pad. And even that isn't really all that good.
And
So
even that
at
you don't
best,
have.
maybe we'll see a few indie games or Xbox Live Arcade games using this feature. Low-budget games, mind you, but games. But we're not going to see any big-budget retail games using this feature.
And how long are people going to even be developing
just
for
shown that
360?
when you that these peripherals, these things that come outside of the box, that are never included inside the box, that are not marketed specifically for the system, like the Kinect, which was a peripheral, not a separate device. That's the only even example of a successful implementation of a new peripheral device in the history of gaming that I can think of. Okay, there's also a few controller redesigns, like the PS1 analog pad, but
well, Kinect came out ended up a lot better as far as success than I think a lot of people were
expecting. Kinect is probably one of the best examples of revamping your console in the middle of a generation, and if not the best.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people don't like it, but hey, it's for the Wii crowd, and it worked. It got that Wii crowd into the 360.
But, yeah, okay, so that's my rant in regards to the smart glass being a useful gaming tool. Now, is it going to be a useful non-gaming tool? Heck yeah. Yes.
All right. Are you ready to hear my
apparently,
rant?
What did you say?
I said, are you ready to hear my rant? Whenever you're
Yes,
done.
Go
ahead.
I got a rant. All right.
Oh.
All right, I'm just going to rant majorly about the Xbox 360 presentation. First of all, the Kinect, I don't like how every new game Microsoft announces or new IP has to be a Kinect game. I don't own a Kinect. I don't want a Kinect. I don't think there's any potential in Kinect, so that's of no interest to me.
Well, I didn't see much
Kinect
support at the press conference this time around.
Well, what were those 3 new IPs? They announced 3 new
there
IPs.
2 of them. Well, no, 2 of them were. I didn't see 3 IPs. I saw 2 of them were basically arcade games. Where one was a slingshot on a castle, and the other one was at the Fable.
Yeah,
Fable
Fable.
Kinect spin-off, and then the other one was Dance Central 2, which is a full-featured game.
Yeah,
those are the only ones I saw.
Gore Verbinski's working on a game. Gore Verbinski's working on a game, and I think that was for Kinect also.
Well, they mentioned that at the. Did they mention that there?
Yeah, they showed a clip of it, a very short clip.
Okay.
They did announce. They announced a few new IP, but they were very Kinect heavy, and I was pissed off about that. I'm pissed off about Call of Duty demos because they do it every year, and they let it upstage Halo, which made no sense to me at all.
Really?
The Call of Duty demo was longer than the Halo demo.
Yeah, it ended. Yeah, that's what I don't get. It ended the whole show.
Why would they do that?
Normally they start off with Call of Duty and they end with Halo or something like that. Instead, they ended with Call of Duty, and that takes away hype from your game that you're publishing.
Yeah, it's like they're on a different planet.
At the exact same time, it even has a slightly similar kind of sci-fi vibe, though. Halo's in the 25th century, and this is Call of Duty's just a decade from now. Sorry, 26th century.
And it's like everything else is the same as they always show. They have another Forza game, whatever. They have another Fable game. They have another Call of Duty, another Halo, and I'm just so tired of it. I'm bummed out because the 360 was my favorite system. Well, one of my favorites for a while, and now I think it's just like, ugh, just not my.
No, I mean, I love Halo, and Halo 4 looks, from the 30 seconds of gameplay I was able to see on my crappy connection, this game looks so amazing. Oh, yes. And I finally get to see the Forerunner. It's something I've been wanting to see in Halo for a very long time. So, yes, I'm happy. The graphics look beautiful. And Jason would have something very happy to say right now, but he's currently having a problem with the call. So, hopefully he'll be back with us in a moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. What I did like... hold on. Yeah, hold on. I did like the South Park demo, or South Park trailer they showed. I thought that was pretty cool.
I missed the whole thing, but I just got to see a bit of Halo, so that was cool. Tomb Raider also looks cool. Call of Duty looks cool. But,
they showed a trailer of the new South Park game, and they had Trey and Matt up on stage to talk about it, and that was pretty awesome. That.
But before we move on to Sony real quick, what did you think about the Nintendo pre-E3 thing, particularly the awkward comedy thing?
Okay. All right. I was a little confused at first because I thought it was just Iwata standing there in front of a background, right, and talking for a while. That was it, right?
Yeah.
And then they cut to a zombie thing. Okay. I was expecting something else. Yeah, I watched it last night. I sat through it. I kind of fell asleep during it. But I was happy that they got that all out of the way so that they could talk about like games tomorrow or on Tuesday, whenever this is posted. Okay, so all that stuff is out of the way.
The comedy bit was a little embarrassing.
It was a bit weird. I'll give it that, but it was kind of different.
The other guys, like the sort of gay guy and the crazy kid to an action figure. I mean, I don't know. Nintendo doesn't really know how to do comedy. They didn't ground any of that or anything. It was just weird.
I did laugh.
Jason, you there?
Yeah, I'm there now. Okay, but the whole Skype crashed down on me.
Oh, wow. We just talked about the Nintendo pre-E3 thing where we finish off Microsoft. Just talk real quick about Halo 4 before we move on to Sony.
No, I just think it looks really good. I like seeing the, what are they called again?
The Forerunner.
Yeah, the Forerunners in action. I like the fact that they have that little drone that when you throw your grenades at it, it tosses them right back at you, and you got to hurry up and shoot them. That's pretty awesome. Cool. That was sweet, and the whole thing looks great. The graphics look way better than previous, which shocked me. I didn't think they could do much better, but it's looking really good. And for something that's not Bungie and it's Halo, it's actually looking awesome.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, as far as Nintendo goes, it's cool that they got like Rayman Origins as an exclusive, or Rayman Legends as an exclusive game. And I do think, as insignificant as it sounds, that little TV remote on their tablet could be a game changer, because that means people will be using that thing all the time if they can use it, because it's got a little TV guide and all that.
Every single owner will now own a remote that costs me $150 to get. I have a remote with a touchscreen, with a capacitive touchscreen, just like what the Wii U uses. And it's not only very buggy and glitchy, but it costs $150. So, yeah. So every Wii owner will have this kick-ass touchscreen remote that works with their television. It can change channels. It's cool. But, the big three. Now, Sony. I completely missed Sony. Jason and I were driving home from Disneyland. which we didn't get to go
well,
to.
downtown Disney, we
also got
around
to see
the shops there, and we got to see Tron Uprising in a little theater, and that's an awesome cartoon. I mean, animated.
Yes,
series.
it is probably one of the best. It's probably one of the best animated pilots I've seen. And considering that there have been some pretty good animated cartoons lately, like Transformers Prime and Avatar: Legend of Korra, so despite its CG, it's a really, really good show from what we've seen. I mean, it's better than the second movie, in my opinion.
And I'm a huge Tron fan, so I was shocked at how good that was.
Now,
I wasn't expecting it to be anywhere near there.
So anyway, Sony, the one thing that they announced, because I completely missed it, but one thing that they announced that really stood out to me was the 12 free games for PlayStation Plus subscribers, and I will be getting...
one of them is Virtual Fighter 5.
Yes, Virtual Fighter 5 will be those games. Well,
she'll be out by the time you hear this.
I won't say Showdown because we don't know yet, because I guess it's Virtual Fighter 5, but it's a Virtual Fighter 5 game.
If it comes out tomorrow and it's free, it has to be Showdown. There's nothing else to it. Plus, I could see them putting out Showdown for free on the PSN Plus because they're going to make their money, on that case, on the DLC, which you still have to purchase.
And also, I'm sure Sony's probably paying Sega something for the game just to have it on PlayStation Plus. And in addition to that, we're also getting Just Cause 2, Infamous 2, Little Big Planet 2. Not the original games from like 5 years ago, but the newer games from like 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I just found out that they're also putting in Warhammer Space Marines, which is not a bad third-person action game. And
this is
Ratchet & Clank All for One.
Unlike the free games last year, I have not played like any of these except for Saints Row 2.
I played some of them, but I don't own any of them, which is great. I'm really happy with that.
I have been skeptical about getting PlayStation Plus for a while now. I've been waiting for at least...
I think it's I've had it for 2 years, and I think it's a much, much better value than Xbox Live.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox Live doesn't give you free games.
All Xbox Live gets you is online, and then having to pay extra to play the other apps like Netflix and
also
Hulu.
The demo's a week early. But, yeah, Sony,
demo's a week early.
You have done it. You've picked the perfect selection of games. I will get the subscription. I love you. Thank you. Now put some good things on the Vita, please. Of course, you're not even watching this podcast because it's Sonic, but, please.
Yeah, we got Jet Set Radio coming out, and now, thanks to Sega, they've guaranteed at least 2 copies from me of Jet Set Radio, one on my Vita and one on my PS3.
Oh, I cannot wait for the Vita version. Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you, Sega. Though I wonder if there'll be cross-play between PS3 and Vita.
It might be. Who knows?
And Sega, what did you think of the Sony press conference?
All right, the press conference, because I guess I'm the only one who saw it. The press conference was pretty good. They really emphasized like how thankful they are for all their fans. Like they made it a point several times, like, we love you guys. Like you guys, gamers are the most important thing to us. It was almost like a response to Microsoft. It was kind of the weirdest thing. Like they're really like almost humbled. Like it's like they used to be so arrogant, and now they're just like this humbled company. It's pretty funny to watch, actually.
Good place for the last 6 years. That'll humble.
Yeah,
any
I mean, it really did. Like
for a while.
they sound like a totally different company. But like, yeah, it was a cool show. It was all about the games and like they still focused a little too long on like this 20 minutes on this PlayStation Move game. It's the weirdest thing. I can't even explain it. But it has to do with, like it has to do with interacting with these books, like with the Move and like the iToy, which I don't think little kids are interested in the Move, but I guess they're trying it out.
Well, if little kids will play the Wii, I see no reason why they wouldn't play the Move, especially if it involves Harry Potter.
But little kids don't even like to read. Like it's not anyway. But yeah, they showed a lot of that. But then what else did they show? They showed The Last of Us, which looks pretty cool. They ended with that. Naughty Dog's game. It looks.
Oh God, I cannot wait to see that gameplay trailer.
They showed a gameplay demo of it or trailer of it. It looks pretty cool.
So far, Sony definitely has the best exclusives, but I think they've had the best exclusive for at least the last 2 years.
Yeah, I've always been a more Sony fan than an Xbox fan myself.
Certainly the best exclusives at E3 at their press conference, because Nintendo has only emphasized the crap mostly, except for last year.
Oh, wait, yeah. Hold on. They also demoed they showed a trailer of David Cage's new game, the Heavy Rain guy.
Beyond.
They showed Beyond. Yeah, they showed not really. It was no gameplay, but it was all story. But it looked cool. I hope the gameplay is more than a QTE. But David Cage knows how to tell a story, so I'm definitely interested in that for sure.
No, I've heard his games described as bad movies.
His games are. I mean, if you've never played any of his games.
I played a bit of. I bought Heavy Rain, and I watched people play it on Video Games Awesome for a bit.
Yeah.
But I haven't played it myself yet. No.
It's fun. I mean, they're definitely fun. I thought Heavy Rain was so much like Indigo Prophecy, though, that it was too similar gameplay-wise, and I'm kind of thinking that they can't take that much further. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't really evolve that type of movie game.
Well, I think that if they build it from the ground up, there's a lot more they could potentially do.
I hope so, because there's a lot more that they should do, just because, you can't keep making QTE games. You need to do a little more than that, I think, to be worth the $60.
Well, I don't know. There's always games like Asura's Wrath. That's an amazing QTE game from what I've played.
Yeah, but I think that's different. Well, actually, I've never played it. That's also old, though, isn't it?
No. It came out last year. You really need to get it.
Oh, wow. I don't think I've ever played it.
I heard it when it came out, but then I played the demo like a month ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, how have I been ignoring this? It's like I'm playing an anime, because it's like a 26-episode story game with like all these awesome over-the-top battles, and like both episodes at some point showed the entire planet Earth, just to give you an idea of the scope of these fights.
Well, the one boss fight I played in the demo, the guy actually stabs you right through the earth.
Oh God, he stabs you. Then
he stabs you, and he drags your whole body back down into the earth. And the thing he's stabbing you with actually extends so long it goes right through the earth from one side to the other.
Anyway,
wow.
It's just it's way over the top, that video game.
Wow.
I don't think I've even heard of it, actually, before this conversation.
Yeah,
that
sure
cool,
as Wrath, I would check it out. It's very kind of God of War, QTE. It's like a mix of God of War and Dragon's Lair mixed with an anime.
And it's not all QTE. There's also beat-em-up gameplay and stuff.
Okay, so good. So that alone makes it better than the Quantic Dream games.
Yeah. But it's also and the QT okay, I'm losing my mind here. Okay, let's get back on track. But yes, it actually came out this year. Come to think of it, like in February, I think.
On what is it, like a download game or a retail game?
No. You can download the demo, which I recommend, but it's a retail.
Oh, okay. I don't think I ever heard of it.
Well, you've heard of it now.
Sweet.
And knowing the kinds of games that you like, I think you like it. So
right,
buy
cool.
it.
Thanks for the recommendation, then. I might check it out. I'll check the demo out.
I gave you a recommendation in public, so you're kind of obligated to follow through with it.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Anyway, the final bit of E3 conversation. Sega. Why we're all here right
now.
Sega.
Sega.
But yeah, their E3 lineup is kind of lower key this year. We should be getting some. I expect we'll be getting some kind of announcements in regards to new games or current games for new platforms tomorrow with the Wii U.
Or at least what Wii U support we'll probably hear about tomorrow.
Yeah. I expect we'll be getting. I expect they'll be announcing Sonic Adventure 2. I expect we'll be hearing about All Stars Racing transformed on the Wii U. Hell, maybe we'll even see it demoed. I mean, we can hope. But but the E3 is kind of showing what Sega's current focus is, because of course we don't see Anarchy Reigns, though I expect we'll be getting it. We don't see we won't be seeing Rhythm Thief, which I think is a real big mistake, but
yeah, it's a bummer. I doubt they're going to put it out. I mean, now
that they're going to put it out. It was confirmed July. Don't start that. Don't start that, man. Don't start with me. No. At Jason.
Well, you could have fooled me though, because they're not doing anything to promote it.
Yeah,
it's not even at E3 at all.
Binary domain.
And I don't understand, like, if you have a booth and you're a developer, why not just show all of your upcoming games, even if it's like one demo? I don't understand.
Well, that one demo could be for something else.
Like,
they only have so much.
They have nothing else.
They only have so much booth space that they gotta.
Yeah, don't underestimate the cost of booth space here, because
yeah, but they don't have
every
anything
single
else.
game costs something to put out, and so you want to emphasize the product that you really want to push. And don't forget, this isn't for gamers. This is for retailers and media. So that you're trying to advertise these games, and
right.
you want to put all your money, and really all the budget that you have is going to go to the games that you think have a chance of making that money back.
But these are games that you need to put out there, otherwise no one will know that they exist and they won't buy them.
Yeah, but I think for Sega it might be cheaper for them to just put them out like that. Otherwise, they would market them more, I think.
I mean, I just feel like at the very least, like, well, I don't know. We'll see what they show. I can't believe they're not showing Anarchy Reigns at all. That really pisses me.
It wasn't on the list, so
I know.
unless it become a Wii U game, I don't see how it's.
Yeah, and that still worries me. I mean, somebody said it's in a trailer for the Canada EB games, but those things tend to be purchased way ahead of time, and that's possibly it was purchased before they decided, to change their strategy. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it's still coming out in July, but who knows?
We'll see.
I don't see why it would not, because it's fully. If you played the Japanese demo, you could put it in full English voice acting, English subtitles, English options.
Well, don't forget that part of the cost is just publishing and marketing the game. I mean, why do you think Nintendo was so hesitant with Xenoblade? I mean, you had to grab them by their ears and shove their faces into the dirt and then poop on. Okay, I'm getting a little graphic here, but you get the idea, guys. It's not a matter of just translation. It's also a matter of production and marketing.
Which they're not marketing it at all, so they're saving on that at least.
Yeah, I mean, even online they don't really market it well.
I mean, there's always something, that they have to spend money on, that they're better off just not spending money on.
I mean, I get you. I know what you're saying. I just disagree. I know what you're saying. I just don't agree with that. Approve of that strategy, I should say. Sega will never develop new IP that are popular unless they put them out there and really let people know that they exist.
Now,
and another thing, they got to stop with the whole putting out the games that are popular right on the fiscal quarter, like they did with Residents of Fate and Yakuza of the Dead, and kind of what they did with Binary Domain. And they put Binary Domain almost right up against Mass Effect 3, just like a week early. And when you don't schedule your game releases, properly, you're going to get massacred, and that's what keeps happening.
Yeah, that's why delaying Anarchy Reigns out of the summer just makes no sense, because there's no games in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many big releases coming out right now.
Personally, I don't really understand why most developers don't at least target their handheld games to the summer, because in the summer you're going to have kids and adults traveling and going places, and they'll be more inclined to buy portable games. So I think the summer should become the portable video game holiday.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't think they're going to release. I don't know if they're actually going to release Anarchy Reigns. I don't think they are. At least they're not planning on it right now. That's my honest thought on it.
You said that about Xenoblade too. And
but I mean, maybe we'll get it one day. But I definitely don't think
at least with the delay of Aliens, at least they're showing that yes, they are supporting that heavily. There's going to be a special collector's edition. They keep showing more trailers. Every time they delay it or do something with it, they show a trailer or something that proves, hey, we still support this, and we're still really
Right.
100% behind it.
Watch Dead Space 3 be announced for March 2013.
So if
I
Anarchy
bet that.
Reigns doesn't come out, that means the only retail game on disc that's going to be released this year from Sega is Binary Domain and Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing. Everything else would be downloadable games.
Yeah,
well, except
and that's what they said
except
they
for
would.
Rhythm Thief, that'll be a
If-
3DS.
If
and there's
that's
also
even happening.
Super Monkey Ball Vita for the Super Monkey Ball for the Vita.
Yeah,
Oh,
forget about
there's
that.
So does everyone else, I think.
Hey, be quiet, you. Anyway, as far as games that we are excited to play or see, in Sega's case, because he can't play them.
From Sega.
Yes, I am looking forward to the Monkey Ball Vita game, which will be the first HD Monkey Ball game. I am also looking, unless Wii U is announced, but even then, unless the Wii U version is announced, but even then, I'm also looking forward to the Cave, which is a he actually
that's one.
again had really good things to say about the Cave from Double Fine, because he's a big fan of the adventure genre, particularly the adventure genre from the creators of from the people at Double Fine. Unfortunately, I do not remember the name of the creator, but I am told he's made games like Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle, I mean, really legendary point-and-click action games, point-and-click adventure games. So I think this game is from a very good pedigree, and I'm really looking forward to it. And it looks really good from an artistic standpoint.
It's something that Sega's doing really right is their downloadable games. Their original downloadable games all look like really good quality. I mean, Renegade Ops was great last year, and Hell Yeah looks great, and this upcoming The Cave looks like it's going to be a knockout too.
Yeah, oh my god, okay. You know how I said March 2013 for Dead Space 3?
Yep.
I promise everyone I did not look at this beforehand because I don't care about EA. But Dead Space 3, February 2013.
Well, yeah, you know what? That's the thing. I mean, it's a crowded time to release a game. No matter
What
what.
is with all the 2013 games this year at E3?
Well, it's probably because a lot of them are being delayed out of 2012. Though, Sega, I think you need to delay your Aliens game another 2 months. I mean, I know Aliens is a major franchise, but it's not really a major video game franchise anymore. So, maybe move it to April? Huh? Maybe?
That really sucks. Dead Space against Aliens, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, Aliens can actually do really... The Wii U might actually really help Aliens if it's actually a good version of the game.
If there's like a scanner on your tablet.
I mean, it might just be that alone.
That's going to be awesome.
If the system has a really big launch, I feel like a lot of games, if they're good quality, at the system's launch or near it, will do a lot. Will just have a boost automatically because people want games to play on it. So with that alone, might help.
I'm also really looking forward to All Stars Racing Transformed because we got to play once already. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing a few new tracks on there.
So, what about you, Jason? Just talk.
On Sega, yeah, like you said, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, looking forward to seeing a few new tracks on there. Definitely looking forward to The Cave. I want to play Jet Set Radio on the Vita, because I want to see how what they did with that. And I still haven't played Hell Yeah. I know you played that at PAX.
Oh, yeah, that was a fun game with some issues. Everyone can read my preview from PAX. Just look up Hell Yeah. It'll be right there. Read it now. You can do that while you're listening. Okay, go on, Jason.
And I think we'll finally have Aliens Colonial Marines playable, I hope.
Well, technically it was playable at PAX, but it was just a multiplayer session where the players played Marines and the developers played Aliens.
Yeah, the problem with the multiplayer demos is they don't always come off well. I didn't really like Anarchy Reigns as a multiplayer demo localized last year at E3, but when I played the full demo from the Japanese PSN, I enjoyed that a lot more. And even the online multiplayer, because once I got used to everything, I thought it was a really fun game.
I do hope they just have it sitting out there this year, because I've been wanting to play Aliens, and they keep not making it available. It's just getting kind of annoying.
Yeah, and having to wait in a long booth to watch
just to watch gameplay, which I did, and it looked kind of cool, but there's not much I can really write about. You know, I mean, I'm not a big Aliens fan. I've barely seen any of the movies, so I guess I can't talk about what I'm seeing.
We should really wrap this up.
Yes, we should. I'm actually almost done here. And Sega, you speak.
All right, I'm looking forward to Hell Yeah. First of all, just because it's French, right? It's from a French developer.
What do you like French games?
Rayman. I like French humor and I like all that stuff. So like to me, that's gonna be funny.
Well, it does have humor, that's for sure.
Yeah, like I mean, that's just for some reason that humor appeals to me. I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to Jet Set Radio. What else? Oh yeah, I don't really know about the Aliens movies, but that game I think could be really cool and really scary. And and Sonic Racing, obviously, that too.
All Stars Racing Transform.
Yeah, I hate that name, but I like the game.
Yeah, I really do.
They should either have called it Sonic All Stars Racing or Sega All Stars. I don't know. They should
have Sonic in the title because
the "and" is weird. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, get rid of the "and" at least. Just Sonic All Stars Racing.
Just go with that. Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, so I'm tired. They're tired. So
we all have to get up early to get ready for E3, except for except for Sega.
Conference, hopefully.
I gotta get up to watch Nintendo's, but that's not till noon. So.
Well, actually, it's 9 a.m. for me.
Not for me.
How about you get onto MSN and we can listen and we can comment on it a bit as we watch.
All right, I'll be on the Sega forums too.
Like you say?
I said I'll be on Sega forums too. I'm sure.
I'll be at E3 by the time the press conference is on.
Until I need to write an E3 impressions thread. But, anyway, okay, so everyone say goodbye.
Later, guys.
Goodbye.
And we will be seeing you in 2 weeks. Until then, you have Sega Bix and Sonic Stadium where you can get all of your E3 coverage. The only Sonic and Sega sites to be doing that. Not that we mean to brag. And, one final note.
Well, coverage from the show floor, I'm sure every other website.
Yeah, coverage from the show floor, the only coverage that really matters. And on a final note, Jason Berry recently got his press pass from Comic-Con, so he will be giving you live coverage of the Sega and Sonic stuff from that place, too. Hope you enjoy. Bye, everybody.
Everyone, this is the interview section of the podcast for today, and we got on Kelly Parker.
Hello.
And the big Balowski himself, Ken Balough.
Bonjour.
You speak Spanish, not French.
Yeah, right? But it's so much more fun to do French right now.
Okay. We're doing French today, apparently.
Buenos dias. Aquí en Sonic Mexico.
And today we'll be talking, of course, about Sonic 4 Episode 2, the after-launch party we got here. Talking about everything that's been going down since Sonic 4 has been launched, fan feedback and what have you. Let's see. The same sites that seem to have praised Episode 1 seems to have been giving poor scores to Episode 2. I guess a good example would be IGN, who just said, like, Sonic is back, baby, when it came to Episode 1, and now they're giving Episode 2 like a 6.5, saying that the, physics are good, but the magic's still not there. It's like they're going back on what they said before. What do you make of this?
Well, that is definitely perplexing on one hand. I mean, I think that Episode 2 really... I think that it's a better game in every way, and I think when you ask most press people, and I'm not trying to single anybody out, but I think when you ask fans and most press people, it is a much better game than Episode 1. And we went ahead and made a ton of improvements, everything from graphics to the way he works physically, even to the type of level we did, adding co-op. It is a bit perplexing. I mean, quite frankly, to see that it's so polarizing. That's definitely something that I'm seeing is that it's a very polarizing score. People either really, really liked it, or they just really didn't. I really don't know what to make of it, because sometimes I'll read a low review score and they'll say, well, the only thing I really didn't like was the music. So bam, you know, really low reviews. I'm like, well, I just, you kind of don't know what to say sometimes at that. I mean, I'm not a reviewer, I'm not an editor, so I really don't know how they do it. I mean, one thing to always keep in mind is that, you know, when we did do episode 1, you know, XBLA, PlayStation, it was in a different moment in its life as well. I mean, most games in 2010 were also a lot of ports, and new games were just starting to come around. You know, just 2009 was really the year we started seeing brand new XBLA games and PSN games. Now there's a lot of really good games out there. I mean, you obviously have, you know, Castle Crashers has been there for a while, but you've got like things like Minecraft and whatnot. So it's a much more competitive landscape. So I think that's one thing. And let's be fair, sometimes we're our own biggest competitor. I mean, Generations did a fantastic job also bringing Sonic back into 2D space. So I think sometimes we're being compared to ourselves, which is really cool on one end. And sometimes just the review scores are going to take that hit. But do I think that Episode 2 is a better game than Episode 1? Absolutely. On every level. I have yet to meet a player or a press person that is not supporting of that point. Episode 2 is a far superior product, and being able to offer them something for free afterwards is something really cool.
Okay, Alex, you get the next question.
Okay, are we just asking these things at random? Because I don't see any order to this.
Well, we'll just go, you know, take turns.
Okay. I'll just pick one out of the list. Why does Super Sonic retain his Episode 1 physics?
To be perfectly honest, we actually didn't see a whole lot wrong with the Episode 1 physics of Super Sonic. If Super Sonic always floats, he levitates, and he goes through a level in a certain way. He even did back in the classic days. Now, granted, I'm sure there's somebody going to listen to the podcast and go like, no, but in the classics it did this little minute thing. But the reality is we just didn't see a whole lot of difference with it. Now, we could be wrong. It's happened before. And if this is a big deal, of course, we obviously would love to hear feedback on it. But quite frankly, no one ever mentioned anything about Super Sonic in Ep 1 that they didn't like it. And this is really the first time hearing that somebody is questioning, you know, the physics of the Super Sonic. So, you know, obviously, if it's an issue that people would like to be addressed, support Episode 2, and we might see the saga continue with some more improvements.
Okay. Oh, I'm hearing myself. We'll be using the graphic engine for Episode 2 on any future Sonic games. I thought it was a really beautiful engine. It's nice, sharp, very clear. I actually said in my review I kind of prefer it to Generations just because it's got such a crispness.
Generations and Sonic 4 are pretty incompatible in this sense, in the sense that think of everything like a car, right?
Right.
So I'm building an engine for one type of car, and you're building an engine for another type of car, and they have completely different values and requirements. So the Generations engine, I would never be able to cram that into what an XBLA game is. I mean, there's a reason why it's on a disc.
Right.
But will the Episode 2 graphical engine be used again? I don't know. I mean, it's a beautiful engine. Obviously, when we develop games, when any publisher develops games, if we see something or a piece of tech that we like, we obviously want to see if there's an opportunity to use it again, because, you know, why throw away something that's awesome? You don't just trash a Ferrari if it's great.
Right. Okay, Alex?
What is your favorite zone and why?
In Episode 1?
Episode 2.
Oh, Episode 2. My favorite zone in Episode 2, quite frankly, I'd have to say Sky Fortress. I was a huge fan of that. I love the fact that we were bringing it back, and we brought it, and I think that's, I can spoiler alert, right? But it's great that you're able to go into that one, because it does sort of lead you to the new Death Egg that's being built around Little Planet. So I think it was cool that we organically were able to bring that level back. One thing that we definitely looked at with Ep 2 was the levels had to make sense. And when you look at Episode Metal, you'll see why the levels of Episode Metal made so much sense, right? It's because essentially that's when Metal Sonic comes back, and there's a power source, and basically Episode Metal is all about Metal Sonic being sent to these zones to pick up pieces to rebuild himself. So once he's completely rebuilt, you basically see him steal the rocket in Splash Hill Zone afterwards, which he eventually uses, and you see him again in White Park Zone. So the idea, of course, being that I love the fact that we actually are giving, we're showing basically the consumers the meanings behind each of these zones and why we chose them. And I really like that. That's a cool kind of concept.
Yeah, I did love how Episode Metal, that when you went to go back to those older levels, it's had a really good challenge to it. I mean, it felt like there was 2 to 3 times more badniks everywhere there was.
Yeah, it's
Plus
definitely
a
a harder one.
Yeah, very enjoyable. Okay. The following is a bit of a joke question based on a true story of what happened last week on our podcast.
Well,
Sonic.
it wasn't on our podcast.
Well, no, it wasn't
was
on our podcast.
after the
It was
podcast.
after the podcast, after we recorded.
We should probably
episode
start
8.
recording that after podcast.
Yeah, because there's some good stuff comes out of there. Anyway, we were talking about the Sonic fan base and how sometimes it could be a little, weird or pervy, so to speak. And Knuckles wanted to show an example and accidentally ended up with a virus while searching for Big the Cat porn.
For the record, there isn't any.
I find that highly suspect, but continue.
Okay, now...
Because I'm drawing it right now
Yeah,
as
exactly.
I upload it to the internet.
I uploaded it myself, no.
Now, Ken, Aaron Weber's mentioned on a different podcast that you really are a huge fan of Big the Cat. There is even, I guess, a fan fiction contest. So the question is, have you ever gotten a virus while searching for Big the Cat porn, and was it as you truly imagined it?
Have I ever gotten a virus looking for that kind of stuff on the internet? No, definitely not a virus. I've gotten many other things,
Not on the internet.
but not on the internet, and definitely not on. And that's all we're going to say about that subject.
No, the great part about the as you truly imagined it, because Ken really did say that, and there was some discussion on our forums that people were convinced that Aaron was the one that said that, and so I don't know, Ken, how you managed to convince people that Aaron was the one that said that, but I know that it was you.
Sneaky, yeah. I was like, that was my underhanded way. I'm like, shit. People didn't really know what that meant with that. Oh no, let's blame Aaron.
No,
It's a great plan.
No, I'm here to set the record straight. That was all you.
Yeah, it was me. Well, I should have rephrased that. It's truly as I imagined.
Yeah.
Moving away from Big the Cat porn, looking back at the Sonic 4 project at large, what would you say have been the biggest triumphs, and is there anything you wish had been done differently?
Wait, can you repeat that one?
Looking back at the Sonic 4 project at large,
Okay.
which would you say? Well, this is really poorly written.
No, that's okay. That's what. I'll
what
get.
would you say is the?
What would you say have been the biggest triumphs, and is there anything you wish you would have done differently?
There we go.
I want to say that the biggest triumph of the project as a whole, and I'm going to sort of speak for the team at large here, is quite frankly the fact that we were able to get the game made. You have to understand that at the time when we were discussing this project, we were going back and forth over the fact that we wanted to do a Sonic digital game, and we were discussing what that should be. And there was a group of us who thought, if we're going to do a 2D Sonic, we should simply go and make Sonic 4. Like, just put all our heart into it and make Sonic 4. That's something that we've been wanting to do for a long time. And there was obviously internal discussions on whether or not that was the right approach. Should we make Sonic 4? Is it something that we're ever going to be able to do correctly? I mean, we had finally gotten to the point where, and I've said this in several interviews, and it's the greatest strength and weakness of the product, which is Sonic 4 means something different to everybody, because as the years go by, a product like that reaches a certain level of myth, if you will. It means different things to different people, and the older you get, the more you look back on nostalgia with what we tend to say rose-colored glasses, right? So it's just really indicative, right? Because when I was a kid, and I'm going to go on a little tangent, but I'll get back to it. I used to love playing the Simpsons arcade game. It was a really fun arcade game. And I remember the game as being awesome, just flat out awesome. And when it came out on XBLA a couple months ago, I played it with my little brother, and he's like, "What is this garbage?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, what is this garbage?" And he's like, "Dude, this is the most boring Simpsons game I've ever played. Like, this is truly trash." And I was like, I don't understand. And what I wasn't understanding was the fact that to him, games had evolved into a whole new different level, and he didn't understand the concept of quarter munchers. He never grew up with an arcade. He doesn't understand the fact that those games were designed around the fact that you would throw quarters in them, right? So it was really interesting to see how I looked back on something and how this, 15-year-old kid now looked at something and was like, I don't really understand your love of this. And it happens with things like when I look at Goonies, right? I remember Goonies as just the ultimate in movies, but to him, he's like, why didn't they just use a cell phone and solve the problem? Like, it's just a generational gap, right? So I think once we started talking about it with Sonic, we were like, well, is this something that we can really do it justice? Because Sonic 4 had reached the sort of level of myth, right? That we were never going to, and I think we all recognize we were never going to make a game that was everything to everybody. It's just impossible. And but I think what we're trying to do is something in the spirit of it. So to me, the biggest triumph of the project was all of us rallying together, making the decision that this was the right way to go, that we need to bring back 2D Sonic. And the fact that we were able to do it episodically and include fan feedback was a really big deal. So I want to say, quite frankly, the biggest triumph was actually making Sonic 4. I mean, it may sound cheesy, but that's the reality of how I feel. And I think if I could do anything differently, boy, that's a tough one, I mean, what could you do differently?
Yeah, there are a lot of things that we see internally just because we are so close to the project that I think, we see things that we wanted to do but weren't able to make happen, or things that didn't happen quite the way we would have wanted them to. And so I think, we may not even have the best perspective when it comes to that, just because we are so close to it.
I think what happens is when you work on a game, like when you work on a movie or something, you sometimes see what could have been or what the original vision was, but the consumer will never see that. The consumer just sees what the product is, right? But they don't see the struggles that it took us to get to a certain spot, or why we made a decision to not do a certain something, right? Because it's tough. Those are stories that you can't, it's tough to really convey to anybody, because then you're opening yourself up to people second guessing the decisions that you make, and that's always dangerous on a project. But I think that if there's anything I could have done differently, I don't know. I think obviously looking back now, I wish I would have known that consumers felt so strongly about, Tails being single player. And had I known that was going to be such a strong thing at the beginning, probably would have voiced that to the team early, and maybe had made adjustments. But by the time we even knew that was such a huge issue, we couldn't. There was nothing we can do about it because we can't redesign the levels. That's just too expensive. But I wouldn't look at that as a regret so much as a learning opportunity for us going forward, which is honestly the most you can ever ask for when you work on a video game.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised with the whole Tails thing myself. That was such a big, deal for them. But
I don't really see people complain about that anymore.
Yeah, there isn't actually a way to do that. All they got to do is go into local co-op, leave the second controller by itself, and they'll just have Sonic floating behind you while you play as Tails. But anyway, there is a question about that on the on here. Was there any plans for an update on a patch that would allow players to play as Tails with Sonic following?
Well, here's the thing. That patch. How do I rephrase this? The only, and I said this basically on the forums, the only thing you could possibly do at this point is do a patch, and this is a maybe, I'm not confirming a patch by any means, that may allow you to pick either Tails or Sonic as the lead. But would we ever be able to do a patch where you play as Tails alone or Sonic alone? No, never. And I'll just kill that right now, because the game mechanics require co-op moves to get through certain parts of the level. So you're talking, if in order to do a Tails by himself, you're talking about a redesign of the level, and that just, there's no way I'm ever going to get that approved. That's just too expensive. The cost associated with something like that would be astronomical. We're talking about millions of dollars here.
I'd argue that that's also unneeded. It was built up to be a cooperative game, not a single character game. So, it's not even, you can't play Sonic by himself, you can't play Tails by himself. So.
Right.
It's a cooperative game.
Yeah, that's one thing that's been getting a lot of positives is the co-op. I wasn't that big on myself, but a lot of people, everybody I talked to, just loves the co-op in this one, especially
I think
online.
When people started playing it, they started really liking it. Although I got a lot of flack for it at the beginning, but that was before consumers got their hands on it.
Okay, next question. I noticed the. Oh, wait a minute. Did you go last or did I go last?
You went last.
Okay, you go ahead, Alex.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. Jason loves hunting down red rings, as it allows him to explore the levels more. But in this game, all it gets you is an achievement. Why did they include some in-game incentive like a new tail Sonic power-up? Why did they not include? Sorry.
So, I mean, we gave a new Sonic Tails power-up, actually, within the game, if you find them. It's the Team Pinball thing. You have to really explore to find those, but they are a really cool power-up that are only available if you find them in certain areas. The red rings were originally just designed for an achievement, just for collectibles. We never really designed them to unlock something extra, but maybe that's good feedback. I mean, I won't say like that's good feedback for episode 3, but that's just good feedback for us to know.
It's for future Sonic games and unnamed Sonic games.
All right. Okay. Now I've noticed collecting. Speaking of something where you collect it, collecting all the Chaos Emeralds doesn't seem to change the ending to the game in the slightest, outside of getting rid of the try again screen. Basically, you get the exact same ending as before. When in comparison to episode 1, there's a change right at the end. Why is that?
That is something that I'm trying to figure out the best way of phrasing that. So there is the real answer that I can't announce yet, or I may never be able to announce it. But there is a reason for that. And I'm hoping that I will be able to tell the consumers at one point.
Okay.
Sorry, it's very vague, but if I get the opportunity to do or say something about that, you guys will be more than thrilled, actually.
That's great to hear.
How's
the game selling?
So it's really tough because digital numbers don't come very like it's not like movie sales, right, where I get the numbers right away, because it depends on first party reporting. What I can tell you is that we are doing very, very well with it. Sonic, for example, over the weekend, it was the number 2 game on Xbox behind Minecraft. So we were top of the charts.
Good.
We actually beat Minecraft in iPad games over the weekend. We were the number 5 or number 6 game in iOS altogether. We were always above with the iPhone. The iPhone has a ton of apps, and I think we were in the top 30 games or top 30 apps, which includes games and everything else for iPhone. PlayStation, we did pretty well. I mean, for the most part, I don't have all the official numbers yet, but I do know that on iOS we actually are performing a little bit better than Ep 1.
Wow.
So I'm really hoping that, we get a lot of support from the community, get a lot of support from our fans. We do even better numbers than Ep 1, because that will allow me to have the ammunition to push for future projects.
So I guess a certain other Sonic site was a little premature and talking about slower sales then.
Oh, a certain site that tends to have misinformation?
Yeah.
Well, if they knew what they were talking about all the time, they'd do real news.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Let's see.
I got a jab for that.
Yeah, by the way.
Well, okay. While Episode 1 had returning bosses from previous games, Episode 2 introduces a few new pieces of Eggman machinery. Concept Art Fridays revealed the name Egg Serpent Leaf on 1. Is there official names for the Eggman bosses found in Oil Desert, as well as the last 2 bosses, like the Spinning Floor Buffer and the Giant Heart?
Yes, there actually are official names for it. I don't know why they're escaping me now, but there are official names for it. Like the Metal Sonic one is actually the Metal Carrier. You know what? now that people are actually asking what it were, I'm going to let Kelly announce what the names are officially on the blogs.
Okay, I can do that.
Because I actually have all the official names. I don't know why they're escaping me right now, probably because I'm playing with this toy. But yes, there are official names for everything, and I hadn't even realized we hadn't announced them. We'll go ahead and announce them on the blogs.
Well, we could announce them for you through our little podcast.
He doesn't remember what they are.
I really don't remember what they are right now.
Alrighty.
You have to go look it up.
I have to go look it up at my glossary. I have a Bible for Sonic 4, which tells me the names of everything. So I have to go look, and I have to make sure I get the names right. Because sometimes I'll call, like, Oil Desert, Oil Ocean sometimes.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so I'm just like,
I do that all the time.
Not confirm something and be like, that lousy bastard Ken Balough said this and the other, and then I'm like, no.
Yeah, before I posted my review on Sonic Stadium, I originally thought Sky Fortress was the exact same name as Sky Fortress before. Instead, somebody corrected me that was Wing Fortress on Sonic 2.
And I made that exact same mistake when I was posting news about Sky Fortress a few months ago.
Yeah, so those are easier mistakes to make. Okay, go ahead, Alex.
Okay, so Sonic 1 had South Island, Sonic 2 had West Side Island, and Sonic 3 had Angel Island. Does Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2 have an island? A name?
Utopia. Sorry, run through that question again.
Okay, Sonic 1 had South Island, Sonic 2 had... Okay, all the three Sonic games had islands.
Had an island where we had South, West, Angel, and they're asking what island Sonic 4 is on.
Yeah.
If my memory serves me correctly, I think we decided that it was going to be a different part of West Island, but I will find that out. I don't think we were going to say that it was a new island. But that's a darn good question. Wow, that's the first time anyone has ever asked that.
That was one of Barry's.
Look it up.
Really good.
A quick sort of note to Angel Island is that the reason it was called Angel Island actually was when Sonic Team was based in here in San Francisco. They were wondering what to call the island that Knuckles comes from, and then they were looking out at the San Francisco Bay, and that's Angel Island is there, and that's what they named it after.
Huh.
It's actually named after Angel Island from the San Francisco Bay.
San Francisco inspirations in Sonic games.
Well, they were based
Sega
out of here
games.
for so long that, it just inevitably, like, when you look at things like Sonic Adventure or, obviously the redone levels in Generations, you'll notice that some of them look like the San Francisco, the hills of San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge you sort of see. Even in Sonic Riders, though, when
Crazy
we do a
Taxi
bridge,
too,
it's
yeah.
very Golden Gate style. It's a very much inspiration here.
Okay, Episode 2's looking pretty awesome on iOS, but it lacks rotation support, making it only playable with the headphone jack towards the bottom where the hands go. Can we expect a rotation support to be added in an update?
We were going to be doing several updates for Episode 2. We actually are going to be working on several updates for several of the versions, including PC. So Android will get an update, et cetera, et cetera. So that will probably be one of the updates, yes. I can't tell you which one because I don't know which one we're plugging it in, but I know that we are planning on having a couple updates for the game.
Speaking of iOS, how hard was it to get it on the iPhone iPod Touch? It seems like it's really pushing it.
Sorry? I'm not understanding it.
Was it difficult to get the system with those graphic capabilities onto the iPhone/iPod Touch? I know, the Android devices had to have certain hardware just to get that game on there.
Well, actually, so the way it worked was this: we built a universal binary for Episode 2, and we did it as much as you could to get it on all the devices. Now, you have to keep in mind that with iOS, a big part is you have to support the lower-end devices as well. It can't just be, I'm only supporting the iPad 3. We're also supporting, iPad 2, iPad 1, and all those. Now, when you design that way, basically one of the things is that, if you're going to design a universal binary, is there's a positive and negative, right? The positive is that no matter how you buy episode 2, it will play on all your devices, right? And you don't have to buy like an iPad specific and an iPhone specific. You buy one and it's good on all your devices. The sort of downside to that is it has to work well, at least with the lowest common denominator. So that's one of the things with which we still push the envelope of what it could do, but it isn't. Even the master assets are not at a resolution that would take full advantage of the iPad 3 or the new iPad, as Apple's calling it. With Tegra, we were able to really take advantage because that chipset is so powerful graphically that we were able to make, honestly, the closest to the console versions is the Tegra 3 chipset on Android. Now, Tegra 3 has an exclusivity, so you actually can't buy the regular Android version available until another week or so. Because we wanted to really help and push and show that obviously if you buy it on NVIDIA with NVIDIA's Tegra 3 chipset first, it's going to look amazing. And quite frankly, it looks stellar.
It does. It's beautiful.
So you'll be able to play it on other Android devices, but it will not look as good as it looks on the NVIDIA version.
All right. Are you 100% satisfied with the physics this time, or is there anything you'd still like to see changed?
I'm never 100% satisfied, and that goes for me on most projects. And again, that goes back to us talking about what the consumer never sees, or ideas that were either scrapped or we just didn't have time or we didn't have budget to implement them. There's stuff I would have loved to have seen, but we just didn't have time. I think one thing that I would have loved to have seen was, Metal Sonic, for example. I wanted another cutscene where he's picking up another piece of himself. But we only had 3, right? Metal Sonic coming back, he gets his power source, and then it's the one where he's stealing the rockets. I wanted to do one more cutscene, but unfortunately, due to budgetary reasons, we couldn't do it. So I'm never 100% happy because I'm like, I always push for as much as can be done within the time and budget allotted. From a physics perspective, I'm really happy with how far we've progressed. Do I think it can be better? Of course I think it can be better. I think anything can be better. This is one of the great things about hearing fan feedback is I'm sure this time around a lot of people are saying, hey, the physics are great, but we want something else changed. And those are the things that you want to hear for future Sonic games. But yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with where we're at. I mean, I don't want to confuse this. I'm incredibly happy and proud about the product that we came out with. Within the budget and the time that I had to make something with the team, I think we well over-delivered. Again, much better than EP1. I think the physics are miles ahead of where we were at. Do I think that we can do better? Absolutely. I think that that's something that I would hope consumers expect from us, which is the next time I see something, it should be better than the previous one.
All right.
Twice as low review scores.
Huh?
And get far lower review scores.
You want to know the numbers that matter to me? The sales numbers and making sure that the fans love it. The user review scores are the most important to me. The fact that fans have come out and said that, you guys are doing a great job. Thank you. You listen to the feedback. Those are the things that matter to me the most. Because if the fans are happy, I think that we're going to get all those other scores. But I think that if you're only building games for review scores, I think you miss the goal of what building games should be about, and it should be about making people happy.
Yeah, this is why, like in Aaron Weber was
game on 3DS.
Sorry?
Like that Shinobi game on 3DS. Screw the review scores.
he loves Shinobi on 3DS. Yeah, I think this is why, like Aaron Weber, when he responded about the kind of the negative or harsh responses that episode 1 got, he called them positive feedback. I can understand exactly what he meant by that.
Yeah.
I mean, we understand people are passionate, and at the end of the day, I would rather have people on our forums being upset about something that we did and a 50-page thread passionately arguing about a very small detail than to just have nobody there talking about the game at all. So, we don't, it's sometimes frustrating to read, but most days we see it as truly passionate fans who are very engaged and really influenced by what we do. And we love that. Whether that's you're complaining about something or not we would rather have you there than not.
It seems like Sonic Team Dimps really listened to the fans this time, especially in the terms of physics. Could you go into detail on how this was accomplished?
Sure. Basically, what had happened was I had a meeting with Izuka-san. Actually, I have many meetings with Izuka-san. Almost one every week, you might say. And we discussed the things that we would like improved with episode 2, and the physics was one of the things that came up. And we talked about what we want improved, and so it's easier to sometimes. It sounds like it's nitpicky, but it's not. You're saying each thing. It's like, okay, when Sonic gets downhill, in one of the early builds for Ep 2, Sonic would get downhill and he would be at the edge of a cliff, right? And you tuck and roll him, and he'd roll down, but he wouldn't pick up any speed, or he would sort of speed out. In fact, he'd actually slow down after a while. And we're like, no. This is what we're talking about. You have to do this, like this. Like, you have to make sure that you're very expressive when you come to the team and how you convey it. And it's one of the greatest things about the team. This is why I love working with them, is that if you tell them very clearly what you are looking for, they will respond in a very positive way. It's when you're vague about it that they don't understand you, and so they make a change thinking that that's what you want, but it isn't. So you have to be very clear, and communication it's a two-way street, they're trying to be very clear with you, and you have to be the same way with them. So the way that was implemented was essentially just us having lots of conversations, playing builds, saying what we want to change, how it should be changed, and that's how you see the physics as they are today. I mean, it's a very collaborative effort.
And that's where the fan feedback really comes in. As we went through that and we played the early builds and we looked at it, and when we talked to the team, we said, like, this right here at this point is exactly what we're talking about. And, the fan feedback was XYZ about this, and here's specifically what they would like to see changed, and we agree.
Yeah.
So that's really where the fan feedback came into the process. And so I think some people think that we just say that because it's a nice sounding thing to say.
It's not a soundbite for us.
But we really did that. So.
Yeah, I think White Park Act 2 right at the beginning, that's a great example of just how they've been, really paying attention there. We just go right off on that roll and you just keep going faster and faster, and then zoom right off of that lip, just perfect.
There's an old saying, which is never sell somebody something unless you think they're going to come back for more. So I think the worst thing to do is tell people you're listening to them, go off and do something totally different, and come back with a WTF product. I don't like that. I don't like that way of doing business. I like being engaged with my customers. It's why I come on and do things like what we're doing right now. I like being engaged with the fan base. And ultimately, I want them to enjoy something, be able to give us feedback. We make some changes within reason. I mean, we're not going to make Sonic purple, and then come back and do something cool.
Well, and I think, too, the other thing is that we can't address everyone's feedback. There's so many diverse, and like you were saying before, Sonic means something different to everyone. And so, in reading, all of the fan feedback, a lot of times people say, well, all of the Sonic fans want X, which is not true, because 2 posts later, someone else says all of the Sonic fans want Y, and they're diametrically opposed to each other. So, but what we can't do everything that everyone asks us all the time, but we really do take fan feedback both individually and on a macro level very seriously.
Yeah, I think that's really actually Kelly brings up a good point, which is like a lot of fans are contradicting each other. It's our job as dare I say trained professionals to read a lot of it, see what makes sense, and go from there. A lot of people are like, I don't understand why you didn't use classic Sonic, but I'm like, but there's a lot of modern Sonic fans out there, and for every classic Sonic request, I also get another modern Sonic request saying, no, I love this. So it's the best thing about our audience is that they are so diverse and they are so passionately opinionated. But it's our job as professionals to sort of make hard decisions and say, okay, this is what we're going to do.
Right. There's just so many people who want, some people say I don't want any of these extra characters. I just want to play as Sonic. And then there's others that say, oh, I'd like to be able to play as Shadow and Knuckles again and what have you. It's just, like you said, very diverse. A lot of it's, I guess, depending on age and such.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of the fans, too, I mean, some people will express it in an individual way. I would like to see X, Y, and Z, but what always makes me laugh is when people express it as if they speak for the entire fan base. Don't you know everyone wants this? Like,
yeah.
That's not true because look 3 posts away, you guys. That's not true, but everyone thinks that everyone wants what they want. So.
Well, I have it on very good authority that all Sonic fans want to see Big the Cat replace Tails as Sonic's partner in a Sonic 4 2-patch. Very
There's
good.
a funny story to why Big the Cat's one of my favorite characters. It's actually when I came to interview at Sega, I was in a room and there was a Big the Cat stuffed animal there, and I had no idea who this character was. I was like, "Ooh, that's got to be a Sonic character." And somebody told me that it's this cat that just sits around all day and fishes, and I'm like, "That's awesome." He's like this big cuddly cat that fishes, and all of a sudden he was my first Sonic plushie that I ever had at the office. Now I think that, as Kelly will tell you, yeah,
it's grown.
Yeah, it's grown.
The collection has grown.
Yeah,
You
massively.
ever look into his blank, staring eyes and just...
Pretty much like my blank staring eyes.
Man, I thought Aaron Weber was kidding about that.
No, it's just one of those things that's like... So, I mean, I like Big because he was my first real experience when I started coming back to work at Sega. But it's just, it's interesting. I mean, I like a lot of the characters. I know Izuka-san has officially retired Big the Cat. There's a lot of other characters that I really do enjoy, but...
Oh my God, my
Wait, that's actually happening?
My Easter egg joke came true.
What?
That on
April 1st, Jason had a April Fool's joke saying that Big the Cat was being...
not going to be used in any other Sonic team games.
Yeah, they basically said that they really can't... I mean, that's true. They're basically not putting him back into anything right now. Not, at least for the foreseeable future. But I think what it comes down to it is finding the right characters that fit the right games. One of the cool things about Sonic is that we actually do have a lot of characters. And when it comes down to game design, you have to figure out what does the game need to do, and then what characters kind of suit this, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing. So when you bring a character in, at least it's my firm belief that when you bring a character in, the character has to have serve a function. So if you're going to bring in, say, Knuckles, for example, right? Well, you need to be able to use the Knuckles' abilities. Like, Knuckles has to bring something to the table that Sonic doesn't, that helps you get through the level or solve a puzzle. Gameplay-wise, they're there to change up the gameplay. So if they're just going to be there just to say hi and then that's it, unless it's story-driven, you're sort of oversaturating your characters, right? Like they need to do. There needs to be a purpose to it.
That's very true. There is quite a bit of an oversaturation right now. I mean, I understand. I was kind of suspicious about them getting rid of him when Vector replaced him in Team Rose and Sonic 3 Rises, but I can understand that. Vector's, I guess, a little more likable. I think he's still popular with Izuka-san because he recreated them during Sonic Heroes.
Well, I mean, when you look at Robot or Eggman, I was about to say Robotnik. I know you're going to look at me ugly.
I'm never ugly. What are you
Robotnik
talking about?
He's still Robotnik to all of us in this part.
Basically, the idea of him being able to create all these different robots allows you to change up the gameplay significantly. It allows you to change up boss battles. So there's gameplay mechanic-wise, it changes everything, which is something that as a game designer you need, right? You need to have that sort of ability to let the player experience something different.
Yeah, that's something I really liked in Episode 2. Every single boss was very unique and different, and a lot of fun to get through.
And bringing back Metal Sonic wasn't just because we wanted to tell the story. I mean, the story part is absolutely important, but it also, bringing back Metal Sonic allows us to sort of change it up so that it isn't just Eggman that you're fighting, but you're bringing in a different villain with a different set of motivations and a different set of abilities. So, it feels, it's not so much as a balancing issue as much as it is a diversification issue. When you're fighting Eggman, it's always, you know sort of what you're dealing with. But now you've got Metal Sonic, it changes things in a way that's kind of a lot of fun, in my opinion.
That's true. Okay, did Sonic Team decide to link Sonic's CD with Episode 2 after developing Episode 1, or was this before?
We had basically written the story of what the Sonic Saga is well before we did Episode 1. We always knew we were going to draw that in, even from Episode 1 when we were drawing in CD into it. That was always the plan. That's why you see the Metal Sonic light up at the end. I mean, we knew that's where we were going with this story.
Okay, Alex?
What would you say to people on the fence of buying Episode 2?
Buy it! Enough of your indecisiveness. I think that if you're on the fence about buying it, I think it's, why are you on the fence, right? I mean, if you're thinking that, oh, I don't know if it's a great Sonic experience, well, let me clear it up. It's an amazing Sonic experience. I think that if you're on the fence, I think that's one of the reasons why we did the Metal Sonic content, right? Was to say, like, look, this is a way to thank you guys. This is extra content that theoretically, if all I was interested in was the money, if all I was interested in was just getting as much money as I could, I would have charged for it. But I'm not. I'm interested in making you guys happy. I'm interested in giving something back and showing that we know that you guys are supporting us. And we know that it's about you guys as the fans. So this is our way of saying, hey, thanks for letting F1 be as successful as it was. I have time and resources to give you guys something really cool. Let's go ahead and do that. And so I think if you're on the fence and you're just like, well, I didn't really, I thought Sonic 1 was okay, but I don't know if I'd go with Episode 2. I'm like, do yourself a favor. Like, get Episode 2 because we're giving you something extra as a reward for that owning that Episode 1. So, you're sort of cheating yourself out of 20% extra content that's basically free.
Yeah, and a blast to play as well.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, will there be any surprises for Sonic fans coming out of E3?
So if I told you, it wouldn't be a surprise, right?
Right.
So yes, we have some great stuff coming up at E3. You should definitely stay tuned. We'll be doing a lot of coverage on the blogs as well as on our Facebook page and our Twitter account. And so you should definitely keep paying attention to that. And that is all I can tell you right now.
I will be at Halo 4, so...
Yeah, we won't be
speaking
Ken.
Maybe I'll run into you.
I won't even want to speak English to people. No hablo inglés. Leave me alone playing Halo 4.
We will have to tether you to the booth.
Yeah, we'll definitely see you two there. Okay, thank you very much for coming on, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I think it's been a great talk. I think we've had a great time. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.